Welcome to Train Signal. You're watching the very final lesson. Yay, we got through it in this course, which we simply call Next Steps. And the idea behind this particular lesson is, well, I just would like to quickly, congratulate you on making it through the course, but then also maybe give you some advice on, well, what do you do now? Right? I mean, a lot of people, they get through the material and they say, well, now what? Right? I mean, you kind of knew what to do all the way through the course. You're going through and you watch one lesson, you watch another lesson, and maybe you go back and watch a lesson and you study this and you do practice questions and so on and so forth. But now what? Well, let's talk about this a little bit. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about what we learned. Okay, what did we do in this course? Well, let's go back and remind ourselves. We start off, we go way back to the beginning. We talk about motherboards and processors and RAM, expansion cards, storage devices, input-output ports and devices, power supplies, BIOS, displays. We've talked about certain customized systems. We went through all kinds of networking. There were actually a bunch of networking lessons. I've just kind of consolidated this into one bullet point. It says networking. We went through and talked about how to set up SOHO, right? Small office, home office devices, laptops, printers, computer safety, environmental practices, professional practices, and incident response. Now, yay, what did I do? I just read through all the different lessons that we went through. But the idea here was just to kind of remind you, wow, that was a lot of stuff. We learned about a lot of different aspects of, well, working with computers. And if there's any piece of that you're feeling the least bit uncertain about, well, what's your next step? It's go back and watch that lesson again. And if you've already gone back and watched a lesson multiple times and you're still feeling a little uncomfortable with it, I mean, I hope that's not the case, but I do realize that does sometimes happen. As an instructor, you have to understand that sometimes you're going to present material and certain people just aren't going to click and aren't going to get it. Well, that's okay if need be. I mean, go out and do a little bit more research. I mean, I hope you don't have to go out there and actually truly buy any other training, but there is a lot of information that's available out on the internet, a lot of free information, a lot of stuff that even Train Signal puts out there for free to help support this material. So if you are feeling uneasy about any of this material, make sure you go back and you get solid on the material. Now, what do we do next? If you haven't done it already, and you're thinking about getting A+ certified, well, then I strongly recommend that you watch the Preparing for Your CompTIA A+ certification exam lesson. All right, so that's actually the lesson that precedes this one, and in that lesson I go through the details of that exam and give you some advice on how to get ready for it. Now, whether you are looking to get certified or not, I still recommend that you go through the practice questions that are included with this course. Those practice questions make for great supplemental learning material. Okay, so I talk about this a bunch. I won't waste a lot of your time right now because I talk about it in the previous lesson, where I strongly recommend that you go through these practice questions and learn from them. Not just go through and see if you can get the questions right, because that's not a great gauge to see whether you're ready to take the certification exam or not. Use them to help you learn even more material than what I covered in the course. You can go ahead and feel free to utilize the lessons in this course as reference material. Okay, so when you are going through the practice questions, or you are going through and maybe playing with computers, or whatever it is you may be doing, and you suddenly find yourself in a place where you say, oh, you know what? There's something there on the motherboard, and I remember Ed talked about it, but I can't remember what he said. All right, well, that's great. Go back to the motherboards lesson and review what I said there. And you can also get more information about the A+ certification on CompTIA's website, and I have the link for it up on the screen for you now. And I will tell you, it's a somewhat long URL there. So rather than writing the whole thing down, I will tell you, you could just simply Google search CompTIA A+, and I believe this is like the first or second link that it pulls up if you do that. All right, so that's where you can go and get more information about the certification itself. But the big question that a lot of people ask me when they're done with A plus, and let's say you're all done with the certification. You're done and you're certified. You've passed the 220-801 exam. Okay, because keep in mind that this course really only gets you halfway to being A plus certified. Okay, it gets you through one of the two exams. So what's next? Well, that should be easy, and that is you want to go ahead and get ready for, and we have a course for this, go ahead and get ready for the 220-802 exam, which is the second exam that you need to take to get A plus certified. Okay, so that's an easy answer in this course. What do you do next? Well, you did part 1, you got to go do part 2. Yeah, believe it or not, this was only part 1. I know, you're scratching your head right now going, wow, we learned all that stuff and that's only half. But don't worry, part 2, I think in many ways is a lot more fun, and I think for most people it goes by a little bit quicker. You start to retain stuff a little bit easier because it's not all brand new anymore. You've kind of already groomed yourself to learn this material and to take it in, so don't freak out. I know I said that way back in the very first lesson in this course, the introduction lesson, is, don't freak out about any of this. You can do it. I know a lot of people who you would have never guessed in a million years that they could succeed at this, and they succeeded quite well. All right, so you'll do just fine. But let me take a quick moment here and let's assume that, I don't know, maybe you did part 2 first and this was your part 2 and you're done. You're A plus certified. You've completed both parts. You have the certification. You have a certificate on your wall. You can use the logo, all that fun stuff. Now what do I do? All right, what do I go get certified in next, or what do I go learn next? Well, here's the cool thing about A plus. It is kind of the foundation to everything. Okay, it is the most well-known, but at the same time most general IT certification pretty much that's out there, because it is an absolute foundation and you have many, many choices on where to go from here. What I recommend is if you want to stay in the general computing arena and you're not sure, what vendor you would like to go with, as far as you don't know if you want to work specifically with Microsoft products, or maybe you want to get into virtualization and work with VMware products, or maybe you want to get into routing and work with Cisco products. If you're not sure, a really great stepping stone that you can go to after A plus is CompTIA's Network Plus. And we have a course here at Train Signal for that as well. Matter of fact, depending on when you're watching this and depending on what version is out, you may get me again as your instructor, because I also have done a couple of Network Plus courses for Train Signal. But basically, Network Plus would be the next general way to go. It will give you an overview of networking. Now, we learned a little bit about networking in this course, but Network Plus then takes it to the next level. And again, it's general networking. It's not specific to one vendor. From there, it really does, for the most part, become time to choose a vendor that you want to start working with. Doesn't mean that you have to, you're locked in for life or anything like that. But you want to choose a vendor that maybe you want to start working with their products. So again, some big examples that would be typical for people who are coming into this would be Microsoft, VMware, Cisco. Okay, those are some of the big names that you'll jump into. But there are other options even beyond that. Even CompTIA themselves, they have things like Server Plus or Security Plus and things like that. But like I said, for the most part, I personally believe that if you do A Plus and you do Network Plus, from there, you want to at least begin the process of maybe moving over to a vendor. All right, so that's my suggestion. There is no one right or wrong answer because, again, remember, A plus is the foundation to everything. So where do you go next? Where you go next is, well, you either begin your IT professional career or you advance your IT professional career, and you do it in the fashion that suits you and your needs and your wishes and your enjoyment the way you have envisioned it all along. So guess what? I mentioned this way back in the introduction lesson, and you've seen this in every lesson ever since. But bam! Look at that. Here's that wonderful, beautiful thank you for watching screen. And in this case, it's a big thank you. No, the text on the screen is no bigger than you've seen before, but for me, it's a big thank you. I thank you for taking the time to go through and learn about all the information that we've covered in this course, because guess what? I don't get to say that I'm going to see you in the next lesson. No, because this is the last lesson. So what I get to say this time is that I thank you very much for watching this course, and I will see you in the next course. All right, bye-bye.